In this video, I'll be doing another unboxing of another GTX 1660 Super. This time is from Zotac, and this is the Zotac twin fan version, and yeah, that's what they call it. It literally doesn't have a proper name. Anyways, this card has 6 gigabytes of Gddr6 just like any other GTX 1660 Super, as well as Zotac's special features, as you can see on the back of the box, as well as the specifications and minimum system requirements, and all the features that you get from typical NVIDIA GPUs as well, because this is a Turing-based GTX 1660 Super, just like any other 16 series GPUs. You get all the NVIDIA Geforce experience features and, well, all the Turing features, like I said. So this is pretty standard for GTX 1660 Super. And honestly, the card is just a pretty basic dual fan card from Zotac. There's nothing too special about it either, so they really aren't putting any lot of special Zotac features on the box either, and that's quite understandable. So let's just get this thing open and see what we have inside. Once we open the box, you can immediately see there isn't much. There's just this package. Inside you have some user manual and like the CD driver disk and stuff like that, as I'll show you guys. Here you go, you get some promotional material from Zotac, because apparently if you have this graphics card, you still need to buy their gaming PC, which already have their graphics card. That makes a lot of sense. Sure. Anyways, you get a quick installation guide, this time with no typos, instead of like colorful card. Anyways, you also get this very nice latest Geforce drivers are available at geforce.com card, which is better than an actual driver disk, because that's pretty useless. No one actually have a CD drive these days. Anyways, let's open up the packaging here, which is a bubble wrap anti-static bag for the card. And there isn't any soft foam in this case, which is a step down from colorfuls. But here you go, the card is pretty simple. Like I said, it's just a very small dual fan card from Zotac. There isn't anything too extraordinary from it. It's really simple, and even the fans are really tiny. As you can see, the card is barely longer than a PCI-e slot, and it doesn't even have a backplate. So this is clearly a very cost-down GTX 1660 Super for being a very small card like this one and not having even a backplate. But it should be still enough for GTX 1660 Super. And the heatsink itself seems to be pretty well built, and it does have some weight even though it's pretty small. And the fans are actually different sizes, as you can see, because one of them needs to be smaller so that the length of the card stays within this size instead of having it way longer when you use the same size fans. And the heatsink itself is also still designed pretty well, cooling the memory chips as well as the VRMs directly using thermal pads. So that's at least taken care of, because some cheaper GPUs don't cool their memory or VRMs actively, which is not great. And it does seem like it has 3 heat pipes, which extends to the length of the heatsink, which is horizontally oriented just like a lot of smaller cards, so it'll exhaust a lot of hot air from the front as well as some of it through the back on the PCI bracket. And here you can see the thermal pads connecting the VRAM, which is Gddr6, which gets a bit hotter than normal Gddr6, so that's pretty nice that they actually cool it. And also the 8-pin is right on top over there, which powers the VRM section, which is on the back here, that also has a thermal pad, so that's pretty nice that it gets cooled by the main heatsink as well, instead of just the GPU. And the fan's airflow should come out on the back, on the gaps on the heatsink, like on this side, on the bottom, and on the top of the card. And here on the top of the card, you can see a single 8-pin, which is again pretty standard for GTX 1660 Super. It doesn't consume a lot of power, and it should leave you enough overclocking headroom for power limits, because it's an 8-pin instead of just a 6-pin. And the VRM should be more than capable of handling just a 1660 Super. On the back, you can see there's a big vent that some of the hot air will exhaust through, as well as a row of display outputs with display ports and an HDMI. It doesn't have a DVI port, so if you're still rocking a monitor with that, maybe this card isn't for you. And something like a colorful card would be much better suited. And yeah, again, this card is really small. It should be pretty suitable for an Sff PC. It really doesn't consume a lot of space, so if you're looking to make a tiny PC, this might be a great choice. But otherwise, it's not really that remarkable, and the colorful card probably will have better cooling just because of the heatsink is way larger than this. Even though this also should still cool it pretty well from my experience from testing this one, so you shouldn't have any problems with it. It just barely gets over 70 degrees when testing it. So it should still do fine in a lot of builds that are bigger anyways. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please leave a like and maybe click subscribe to see more of my future videos like this unboxing or more buyer guides and reviews. But yeah, thanks for watching.